Yes, I'm just here giving God thanks for another Christmas, giving God thanks for the gift of family and good friends and food, drink. As the Bible says, all good things around us are sent from heaven above. Let's thank the Lord for all his love. Yeah, earlier I heard the Pope talking about peace, extending peace, and try to combat war, you know, using his Christmas Day sermon to talk about peace. But unfortunately, this generation don't seem to have any peace. Only just yesterday on the news here, right here in Wolverhampton, another young man was gunned down. So the violence just keep escalating. And I remember the story in the Bible where when the first murder, when Cain killed his brother Abel, there was a curse on the ground. Yes, there was a curse, and the ground wouldn't yield fruit. So these sort of things just cause destruction to any region where you see a lot of killing. That place is like a curse is on the place, and there's no prosperity there. You know? So let me divulge. Now Cain and Abel were brothers. Yeah? Adam and Eve children. Cain was a farmer and Abel was a shepherd. Now both of them brought their offerings to God. Cain offered the fruit from his ground, while Abel offered the firstborn of his flock, including the best bits. Yeah? Now, that is indeed a commandment in the Old Testament that you have to offer God the first fruits. Anything first, you have to give God first. When you get your wages, you take out whatever and give to God first. You give him, if you have a child. That's why so many Bible characters they dedicate their firstborn to God, including Father Abraham. Remember, he was willing to sacrifice Isaac, and so forth. Now, God looked with favor on Abel's offering, but he disregarded Cain's offering. Now, the Bible doesn't explicitly state why God favored one offering over another, but apparently Abel's offering was best because of what he offered with a sincere heart. Yeah. So this is where jealousy and hatred and anger began, because Cain got very angry, because of the fact that God disregarded his offering. And then God noticed that he was studying war. His countenance fell. God could see that he was mad, very upset. So God warned him, and he didn't take heed. So Cain lured his brother Abel into the field and killed him. And then when God asked him, where is his brother? Him say he's not his brother's keeper. So God put a curse on Cain from the ground, because anything that he planted wouldn't grow, and it wouldn't be of any it wouldn't bear any fruit. Yeah? And worse, Cain would be a restless wanderer on the earth, a vagabond. Yeah. So God placed a mark on him to protect him. I didn't understand why, but that to me suggests God's mercy. Yeah. It suggests mercy. So God said anybody who killed Cain would suffer vengeance 7 times over. Understand? And then again, it sort of indicate that even though Cain committed a terrible crime, God didn't want to unleash a cycle of unending violence. Because people, when they take vengeance into their own hands, it can become really nasty. God said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. we must not repay evil with evil, but repay evil with good. You know, I remember in Jamaica when one man killed another man and then his family member got involved. When you look the whole family, they killed the whole family and the cycle of violence was never ending. So I can understand from God's perspective why he said nobody should kill Cain. But Cain would suffer by becoming a vagabond and restless. And when you're restless, you can want to jump off a precipice and end your own life. That is when the blood of somebody is on your shoulder. So when these young people go around killing each other, killing, they unleash in a cycle of unending violence. That's what they're doing. Yes. Now, like God told us, nobody should take the law into our own hands. You know? Yeah. Because, like I said, it's a never ending and a destruction unleashing on the community and society as a whole. Yeah. And then the worst part about it, remember, Cain was close to God where he could hear God's voice and all that sort of thing. And in the end, because he killed his brother, it led to a life of separation from God and a life of restlessness. So, you know, yeah, man, that was terrible. So, yeah, so the story of Cain and Abel and God's decree regarding Cain's protection teaches about the consequences of sin and the importance of divine justice, the need to prevent escalating violence, and the sevenfold vengeance symbolizes the fullness of divine justice and serve as a deterrent against taking the law into one's own hands. So this is what happened when people just decide to go out and commit murder without realizing the consequences. So when you kill somebody, you blood is on your shoulder and you're restless with no attachment to God. It's like you're separated from God because of the sin that you committed. And because the ground that you plant your fruit and whatever, it don't yield any fruit, so you're laboring in vain, so you become a vagabond in the earth. Yeah, so like I said now, these high rates of murder and violence in the communities, especially among young people, these often lead to social and economic decay in many communities. Businesses close down, property values decline, and people afraid to walk at nights or to even go out of their homes. So this can create a cycle of poverty and despair. My God. Because every young life lost, it represents a loss of potential because when a young man is gunned down, especially leaving young children behind, leaving his job, leaving his home, leaving his family, that's a loss of someone who could have contributed to their community and the world. So these high levels of violence, them erode hope and create so much despair, especially among young people who are growing up. Because they're growing up and they're seeing all this violence happening. And they feel like there's no future for them. And everybody want to run away and to leave the area to say that the place is cursed. So while we may not see a literal curse in the ground or in the area, like what happened in Genesis, the principle of actions having consequences and the brokenness that sin brings into the world can certainly be applied to this to the issue of violence in communities today. These pervasive violence really create a tainted environment. Just look around Wolverhampton and you see how many business places are closing down. The place coming like a ghost town. It erodes hope. It is really imperative for parents and young people to work towards creating a safe, supportive, and a community where young people can thrive and reach their full potential. Where these guns come from? Eh? We need to come up with a strategy how to break the cycle of violence among our communities today. Yeah, man, we need to. We need to get back to the Bible way of the examples and restore hope and justice in broken societies. We need to. People need to get back to the Bible, and this is no joke. Yeah, man, get back to the Bible, get back to the Apostles' way, and let God's holy word walk and take root in your soul. You know? This can't continue like this. They can't be going around gunning down people just for the hell of it. This is ridiculous. And the city of Wolverhampton will be in prayer because I'm going to be praying for the whole city. And I do urge the prayer warriors out there to pray, because the place where we live in now, we have to pray for the peace of that place, Yeah, we have to pray for the peace of that place. You can't just live in a community and act like you don't care. We have to pray for the peace of that place. In the name of Jesus, I'm begging you now. I don't want to hear about no more killings and shootings. This place, Wolverhampton, was a peaceful, nice place back in the day. Nobody hardly used to hear about Wolverhampton more than as a black country place where people do, lot of factories and jobs and things like that. We didn't hear about no shooting and no gun. So in the name of Jesus, may God help us to pray, and that young people will get the message and break up their fallow grounds. Okay? God bless you.